Hi everybody, my name is Antonio Bucchiarone from Fondazione Bruno Kessler in Trento in Italy. So I'm present here a joint work with my colleagues Enrica, Loria and Annapaola Marconi from FPK, Antonio Cicchetti from Mälardalen University Sweden and Nelly Bencomo from the Aston University in UK. So in this presentation, we show how we can integrate the gamification aspect and then the self-adaptation in a unique system that we call motivational systems for the common good. So we present our vision and our research challenges. So the main goal of this kind of motivational systems is to reach and engage citizens in change their behaviors. So we want to promote a voluntary change towards more sustainable habits, combining aspects like virtual or real incentives. So the second aspect is that we want to contribute to the creation of a community of active users. For this, we want to deploy segment-specific actions and to create at the same time synergies with our other local initiatives that are implementing in the city and that involve citizens. So these micro communities will be realized and defined in order to target different segments of users and make them active in different campaigns that we want to deploy in a city with the goal to reach a common societal good. So our vision in general is to implement advanced technologies leveraging social networking and its impact for enabling communities to collaboratively reach the common good by sharing people's strengths while improving their weaknesses. So how we do this? So the main concept of our vision are the social capital, so the set of characteristics that describe each individual's capability and contribution to solve a specific societal challenge. So we want to improve the inclusion of citizens. We want to reduce the environmental impact of their actions and want to have their healthy habits. So we want to involve people in game-like scenarios where a certain task executed by the citizen are rewarded with virtual and physical prizes. So we want to personalize and adapt the gamification aspect of these applications. This will be very useful to make the experience of their participation and engaging the user for a specific goal. And we want to adapt these goals and the challenges that we want to realize in a city to individual traits according to specific necessity of the user and then the environment in general. We do this implementing multi-challenge motivational systems. So in our opinion, this is a new paradigm where micro communities participate to multiple campaigns that are devoted to common societal goods that we will see later. Communities are formed on appropriate combination of societal capital aspects, and these communities will contribute to the goodness of each individual, but in general to the good of the overall community. So these multi-campaign motivational systems are based on three main components. So we have the aspect of multi-agent systems, we have the aspect of gamification, and the aspect of self-adaptation. These three components together we will form our vision. So our vision is composed by two main loops, one that is devoted to the city and the second one that is devoted to the citizenship. So the first is the classical MAPE loop, where we have the monitoring phase that is devoted to understand what is the status of the city. So using heterogeneous source of data from citizens, from sensors, devices, and so on, we want to understand the administration, the companies, and the citizens to understand their city and how it evolves. So through the analysis phase, we want to digest this data and we want to provide alerts and adaptation triggers in order to target a specific challenge that is needed in a specific moment in a city. So to the planning phase, we want to provide the solutions. So we want to provide a set of plans for subgroups of citizens, for the micro communities. For this, we need the mechanism to partition the city in different networks. We want to implement distributed consensus to reach consensus among the participants of these micro communities, and want to also to deliberate these plans locally to the specific communities. At the end, execution, we want to execute these plans. So we want to engage the citizens in a certain way. We want to implement the customized challenges that are devoted to reach specific goal in a specific community. And we want to implement also incentive mechanism to change the behavior of the users in order to reach the societal challenge. So the second loop is for the citizenship. So we want to aggregate the people in a certain way, so engage them with a specific reason and with a specific goal through customized challenges, as we say, then through a set of incentives. So the action is how the citizens act in the city and how this action has an impact in the achievement of specific challenge. For this, we want to use gamification to incentivize the people to have a virtuous behavior. And of course, we want to implement the collaborative of competitive mechanism to increase these engagements and to act in a better way. So the learning is an important aspect to understand this phenomena, to understand how the gamification solution, the incentives, and all the behavioral change campaigns that we put in place have an impact in the overall behavior of the city. So we want to understand what is the real-time image of the city for the specific challenge. And we want to understand the health of the city. So what is the status and what we can do to improve the status of the city. Of course, we want to target a different challenge like sustainable mobility or carbon neutrality, and especially the health and well-being of the city. The last aspect is the adaptation. So we want to manage critical issues of the city. If we discover that we needed to change some strategy, for example, in the engagement, so how we engage people or how we implement the challenges for the micro communities, the adaptation is an important phase. Altogether, these two loops compose our vision and put them in a unified way to manage different societal challenges as a combination of interpreting motivational applications. So this picture represents our vision as a composition of loops where the knowledge is shared between the different societal challenges that we want to achieve in a city. Of course, we have a set of research challenge to reach, so that can be characterized in four main groups. One is about the inclusive and supportive engagement of user. The second is adaptive and continuous engagement. We want to evaluate the positive behavioral change. And of course, we want to manage the privacy and ethical issues. We could do this using existing techniques or to implement new techniques. So, for example, citizen science can be used to understand how the people behaves in a city and how we can, in some way, engage there in a different way. We can use living labs, for example, to implement a specific solution in specific part of the city. For what concerns the adaptation and the continuous engagement, we want to personalize the incentives and the rewards for the specific participants or for specific communities. We want to change the game at runtime. So, for example, to create game content respecting what is the status of the challenge and what is the goal that we want to reach. So we want to evaluate what is the impact of these motivational systems. So we can do through data analytics or through simulations. We can inject recommendations during the execution to retrieve more data and to understand better what is the status of the motivational system execution. And for example, plan optimal strategies that we derived from this evaluation. Of course, we need to guarantee the privacy and the ethics of all these solutions. So this is all from my side. So if you have questions about our vision, so please contact me by mail or through the Twitter channel. Thanks a lot for your attention.